Hi, good morning, magical ones. Hope all is well where you are. Today is Friday, whoop whoop for some of you that work, and I wanted to show you all a very quick, simple, yet highly effective sweetening spell. Because today is Friday, it is the best day of the week for any type of emotional work, sympathetic magic, love spells, kind of anything that pertains to matters of the heart. Of course, magic can be done any day during the week, but if you have the option to hold off and wait and do it on a Friday so you can channel that Venus energy, that sweet love energy, then today would be the day. So I'm going to show you all a sweetening spell that I've done several times for myself. I've done it for friends, I've done it for clients. It works very, very well. And I figured somebody out there might be able to use it. So first, what is a sweetening spell and when would we use one or why would we want to? Well, it's just that. It is to sweeten someone or a situation to your favor or to kind of just change the energy or dynamics around whatever it is, okay? Using a sweetening spell sometimes can be in place of using another form of magic. Now, I don't believe that magic is always light and love and fluffy white bunnies and shit like that. It is important to know both one end as far as the other end, but there are some situations or circumstances where maybe all you need to do is a sweetening spell, or perhaps the person or situation that you're working on, you are a little reluctant to do something maybe of the darker end or heavier magic, okay? A couple of examples of that would be, let's say you have an issue with a coworker, okay, and maybe you work in a team setting or you share a cubicle, or you are in an environment where it's like, I have to deal with this person. There's no coming to work and not communicating. We have to deal with each other, and perhaps you're just kind of butting heads or seeing eye to eye, or there's just some tension or energy for whatever reason. You might want to use a sweetening spell to sweeten them up so that the two of you can work together and kind of just be in a comfortable environment. That's one option for the workplace. Another option is perhaps your supervisor. You guys, there's something doesn't like you, or there's tension, or maybe you made a mistake at work and you're kind of concerned that it's going to possibly cost you your job or something to that effect. You can use a sweetening spell to make sure that things go in your favor, that they're a little sympathetic, that they're understanding, that they're open-minded, that you are kind of seen in a better light where they're willing to work with you, okay? Also, you can use a sweetening spell for maybe if you went on a job interview and you want to ensure that the person liked you and is willing to hire you. Or I don't know if you've ever been on an interview like this, I have, where you're qualified for the position. It seemed to go well, but for whatever reason, maybe you were having an off day. You woke up and just weren't feeling right, or you had a fight with your spouse on the way there, so you know that you could have maybe presented yourself a little bit better, or you could have smiled a little bit more, or something to that effect. So that's another option. Or perhaps you've already had the interview and there's another candidate and you want to sweeten the person who's in charge of making those decisions. So that's one way to use a sweetening spell. Another option would be for school. Let's say you missed an exam, you forgot to turn in something, you missed, whatever. And you're really hoping that the instructor, even though they said they don't, allow makeups or something like that, maybe you can kind of sweeten them to be understanding to whatever the reason was that you didn't or weren't able to do what the requirements were, and see if they give you a second chance. Sweetening spells can be used in court cases. I talk about that a lot with honey jars, although this one that I'm doing is a little bit different. Another way of using a sweetening spell could be at home. Perhaps, your landlord, something transpired between the two of you, or you and your neighbor got into it over the trash can. Who knows? Or you and your spouse just seem to be bumping heads this week and not agreeing, or maybe your loved one, family member, child, in-law, or something, you had an argument, or whatever it is. You can kind of sweeten them. Or just sweeten the situation, maybe not even them particularly, but the circumstances. So when and what would be appropriate time for this? Well, for some people, they're not comfortable using baneful magic. Other people, they don't want to do anything that could potentially cause harm, and that's okay. If that's you, that's fine. There are some instances where maybe sweetening the situation would turn out to be more beneficial than it would be to try to fight the situation. So You know, I've worked in a workplace where you have to decide, do I try to get rid of the coworker or do I sweeten them so that they can be cool and we get along and kind of, they do, not that they do whatever I want, but we can coexist and everything can be copacetic. Sometimes, in some cases, you know, baneful magic, banishing work, removal work, it's a lot of work energetically. It's just a lot. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily happen as quickly. And I'm using the workplace as an example because I think we can relate. Wanting to get someone to quit or get fired, or maybe you want your roommate to move out or something like that. It can take a while, and you're putting in all this energy and you're still miserable at the same time while you're trying to remove this person or the problem. So in turn, sweetening spells to me do seem to work a little bit faster. It doesn't require as much energy. And sometimes, like I said, maybe the person is a close relative to you and you don't want to do baneful magic. And sometimes you just don't, you're not that person. So it's like, I'm not that person to go burn a black candle. I really want to get along. Like, I like my coworker. I like my roommate. We're just not seeing eye to eye. What can I do to fix it? So this would be a good option for you. It is important to know both. So for some things, maybe you're fed up. Maybe you've tried. Maybe you've done spiritual work. Maybe you've tried to, you know, talk to your supervisor and work things out with your roommate, and you've been nice and you've pleaded with your neighbor and you've done everything that you can do that is, you know, from like, I'm trying to be cool, I'm trying to work it out, I'm putting in all the effort, and they're just steadily like, it's just not working. And you're like, okay, this has to go. Well, then that's different. And by all means, handle it the way that you feel best. But I do sometimes recommend to people to try this method first, and then if they don't have any success, go the other route. So it's up to you, but I just want to give you guys another option of how to handle a tense situation from a lighter, kind of lighter standpoint or lighter energy. So I'm going to put my camera down and show you guys what I have. All right, so here I have a 7-day glass candle, also referred to as a prayer candle or a novena candle. You can find these at a local Botanica, a metaphysical or occult store, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, sometimes grocery stores have them. If you live in an area where there's a Latin market, I tend to find an array of candles there. That's where I got mine from. If for some reason you don't have a glass candle or you're not able to get one, you can use another type. Maybe you have a stick candle or a little tea light or votive, but you would need a few of them. The reason why I use these is because they burn over a course of several days. That means your work is getting energy every day it's being worked on, and the more days that it works on, the stronger the energy builds in order to change the situation. So if you had some other type of candles, I would say a minimum of 3 days. If you can do 5 or 7, that would be better if you can't find this, but if you can, this would be best. All right, so some of the things that I have here is some lavender oil. Lavender is to bring peace and calm energy. It promotes love and tranquility. So I'm going to add a little bit of lavender oil. You just need a drop or two. You do not need very much at all, just a little bit. And if I wasn't shooting a video, then I would be quietly putting my hands over my candle and putting in my intentions and my energy. I personally like to speak out loud over my candle because I believe voice and words carry vibrations. However, if you want to do yours in silent, that's fine. The next thing I have is some jasmine oil. Jasmine brings happiness. So we're going to put a couple drops of that in there. I have some vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract. This is optional. Also, all of these ingredients, you do not have to have all of them. If you had just one of them, it would still be effective. So I don't want anyone to think that you got to run out and buy these, or if you don't have them, it's not going to work. It will still be effective because your intention is what matters. This is just a tool, and these are just aids to kind of boost the energy of the tool. So if you only had just the lavender oil, that's fine. If you want to use these or even add some additional sweeteners, you can, but just don't feel like you have to. So a little bit of vanilla extract. Vanilla is sweet, and we're trying to bring sweetness to the situation. Also going to add some pure honey. This is not expensive or organic. This is like the cheapest honey that I found. And I'm gonna add a little bit of that in there, clockwise motion, just a drop. Don't need very much. People always ask me how many drops or how much do I use. I don't measure anything. I just pour and pinch and throw it in and kind of eyeball it. So next thing I'm gonna add is some lavender. This is dry lavender. Again, this is optional. When you are putting in your herbs, you want to be careful not to place them too close to the wick, because you don't want the herbs to end up catching fire and starting the top of the glass candle to be engulfed in a big flame. Also, something I didn't mention, but what I did beforehand was I poked holes down inside of the candle to allow the oils to seep down, again to prevent a fire. And also, you don't want the wick to become overly saturated with your oil, then the candle will not burn. A lot of people, message me and they'll say that their wick's not burning, and they're like, oh my God, my spell's not gonna work, or someone's doing witchcraft against me. And it's usually just because the candle was a little overdressed, and that's why. So if you're new to reading candle interpretations and you overdress your candle, then you could potentially think that the spell is going a certain way, when in actuality it's not. It just has too much stuff in it. All right. Last thing I'm going to add is some blue glitter. Blue is for peace, calm, tranquility, communication. Maybe whatever you're working on, you need to be able to communicate, in a peaceful manner. And glitter also helps boost the energy behind your candle work. So now, I'm going to show you. That's how it looks. Not too much. Can you see that? And what I do, if I do notice that there's too many herbs close to the wick, I simply just take something and move it alongside of the glass. That's all I do. If you don't have any of these sweeteners and you want to use something else, you can. Sugar, maple syrup, agave, any type of sweetener that is a natural form. So, don't grab the packages of Sweet and Low out your purse and throw them in here or anything, but just something that is natural. If you cannot find a pink candle, white is a universal color, can be used in place of any color that you do not have. So you can always do white, but if you can find pink, then I would opt for this, because I know that this works. So what you do afterwards is you, again, you may want to sit with it, put in your intentions, maybe speak a few words over it, or a prayer or an affirmation. You can write the person's name on the candle, maybe put a photo, or write out on a piece of paper whatever the situation is that you like to change, and how would you like to see it change, or where would you like it to go from there. And you light your candle and burn it. You want to allow this candle to burn all the way until it goes completely out on its own. I do not extinguish my candles, but I do keep them in a fire-safe place. If you are not comfortable leaving your candle going, or maybe your living situation, you cannot do that, you want to take something and cover up your candle to put the flame out. You don't necessarily want to blow the flame out. Some people do not believe that blowing the flame out causes any disruption to the work. The way I was taught is you don't blow your candle out, because you end up blowing away the energy and you blow away the magic. When you come home, you would simply relight the candle, either re-speak the same words or just kind of hold the same intention, and light your candle every day until it goes out. When your candle is at its very end, even if it's like just the flame and there's no wax left, don't blow it out, or don't put it out. Allow it to burn until it goes out on your own, because oftentimes when the candle is still going, that's because it's still trying to work, and you don't want to end up putting it out prematurely. How would you dispose of this when you're done? For this type of candle, I would simply rinse it out and throw it away. You don't have to, do anything too special, but if you prefer to, or maybe you want to keep it on your altar or something for a few more days, you can, but it's not necessary, okay? Let's see. I think that pretty much covers everything. Again, this is just another option I wanted to share with you guys. It does work very well. If you have any questions, if you're going to try this, or maybe you've done something similar, I would love to hear about it, what the results were. Feel free to leave a comment or leave a message. Again, thank you guys for watching. I love you all. I was going to say happy Friday, but happy Friday again. I love you all. Jasmine Atten. Bright blessings to everyone, and I'll talk to you guys soon.